I will check it out.
Give me a good gambling story. Do you have a good
Oh God.
gambling on the golf course, and when you just
I'd
won
be,
about
I'd,
like,
I'd be embarrassed to tell you some of the
Okay.
gambling stories on the golf course that I've had, but yeah, I've had some good ones. Some fairly high stakes matches.
Yeah.
Not.
nothing too?
We'll keep it in the 4 to 5 figure range. Put
Okay.
it that way. But
Okay.
a lot of fun. A lot of fun gambling on the golf course. I've got a lot of great gambling stories, but they'd be too embarrassing, I think. But no, I've had some great runs at casinos, and I've had some really horrible ones. And it's amazing when I quit drinking how much better my gambling results became.
Yeah.
You actually have enough sense to get up and leave the blackjack table.
What about gambling on the golf course? Just any really great moments where you dug deep, you knew you needed a shot, you needed to hit the green.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've had. I still can remember playing out at Hampton Cove, and my best friend and his brother, who's also a very good friend, short-sighted myself, and all the money was on the line, and I hear the guy go, "There's no way he can get this up and down. This is a tough shot." And this is a guy that's famous for opening his mouth and having bad things happen to him. So I chipped it in on him, on those guys, and that's a good one. I can yeah. When you play as much golf as I think you and I have, you've pretty much seen it all. I've had a few hole-in-ones. I've had 3.
Have you?
And I love to gamble, and I love gambling on the golf course.
Where did you have holes in one?
One at Hampton Cove, one at Cherokee Ridge,
Okay,
and make that 2 at Hampton Cove and 1 at Cherokee Ridge.
so local.
Yeah.
Look at this photo. Tell me, this is from your guys' website, and I don't know if you know this guy, but I couldn't pass up the chance.
I do know that guy.
Do you have any idea? Tell us who he is, and then
That's-
what was the result of the shot?
I have no idea what the results are, but that's Jimmy Dunaway, and that's probably about typical for where he would be playing.
His white shorts are going to take
Yes.
a beating after that
Yeah,
shot,
but
right?
look at those nice reflections in the water there. That's hilarious.
I had to show that to you.
Yes, that's awesome.
I was thinking once. Did you do some competitive golf too? Like you have your league, but did you ever play like stroke play tournaments and stuff?
In my youth,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll play. I play a lot of tournaments, but nothing, too competitive. They're all charity events. So, yeah.
That was great. We used to in the Washington area. I belonged to a golf club. I wouldn't call it a country club necessarily. It was way out. It was called Stone Lee in Round Hill, Virginia. Scottish lady designed it. Wickedly tough, and it was extremely tough when it first opened. And by the time I joined it, they had made some changes. Beautiful stone walls, like date back to like 1750. On this farm that they created the course. So ours was like really tough, and we didn't have the budget to really cut our greens tight and roll them like a lot of the high dollar country clubs did. But they formed what was called the B League. They had an A League. A League was basically, scratch, your one handicaps, your two handicaps. But it was there wasn't that many players that could always kind of perform at that level. And it was a very short season. It was in the spring, which is the worst time to play golf because you never know what kind of chill you're going to get or rain or what wind. But the B team, the handicap range was like 4 through 16.9.
Oh, perfect.
And then you could play other clubs. And it was like on a Saturday. And so it was 2-man better ball match play. And we would have 6 matches at each location. And in those 6 matches, 2 of the matches were like A flight players, 2 were B and C, just kind of like handicap range, right? You're 4 to your 8, you're 8 to 12, and you're 12 to like 17. And so I was playing at like a 4.5, a 5, and then if I got lower than that, then I was ineligible. and I couldn't play anymore. Right, I have to wait for my handicap to come
So you
back
had
up.
to sandbag a little bit to stay in the league. Is that what you're saying?
There was a lot of people. It's funny when you look back at like the history where like I always wanted to be better, and I wasn't necessarily trying to play golf just to play in that league. But certain people every year they're like still a 7. Like you never get better than a 7, sir. And I'm looking at your scores, and it should be going up to an 8, or it should be going down to a 5. And yet you're somehow always a 7 when it comes to competing in this league. But it was fantastic because all of the clubs had some budget amount to support the B League, and you could go and play, and all the food was kind of on them. And then they would have a nice gathering afterwards. And then in the nice country clubs, they have like a men's locker room, and they're playing cards, and you could order really, really good food. And then we would have these matches. And I just always loved to compete. But it was funny when I had first joined, I was always like a 10 to 12 handicap. I could never play enough, could never practice enough because I was just a public golfer, right? But then when I joined a club, now I had access to golf every day. And I'm hitting balls literally every day because I'm excited and my schedule permitted it. And then I would start playing as often as I could play, and my handicap just dropped. So it's like I'm in the process of dropping. And this is always what's funny with competition and amateur competition. Like, look, I'm posting my scores every time I play. But as you get better, like your precision gets better, or the range of your scores.
Your standard deviation,
the standard deviation drops.
Absolutely.
So you're no longer shooting like an 89 and a 74.
Correct.
You're now getting down to like you're kind of a 78, 79, 80. It gets tighter and tighter. Then you get down to like 74, 75, whatever it might be. So I'm in this process where I once shot 71 at my home course just with some buddies, but then the next day I shoot 84. So I knew I had it in me, but I wasn't playing enough where I was becoming more consistent, and that standard deviation was decreasing. So we played this match against these guys. And I don't know, sometimes also for me, I just got up for the match. I would think about it all week. Couldn't wait to play on Saturday. It's going to take us 5 hours to play this round. No one's pushing us, right? We're there to compete, and we're there to beat them. They were from Fairfax Country Club. So they come out, and I think I bogeyed the first hole, and then I parred the second. We had a really tough beginning. Well, then I chip in for eagle on a par 5. Then I birdie the next hole, which is a par 3. Then I eagle the next par 5. These guys are incensed. And then we get to the next hole, is a par 3. It's about 200 yards away. And at the time, I wasn't even hitting hybrids. I was hitting long irons. So I'm hitting like a 3-iron, and it's tracking. And the ball is in the air, and it's tracking towards the pin. Hasn't even landed yet. And this guy just starts laying out the expletive. You mother sandbagger. And I'm like, the ball hasn't even landed yet. And of course, it lands about 2 feet away, and I make birdie. So I'm basically 6 under. Well, 5 under because I bogeyed the first hole. They were not happy. And I'm like, look, they're like, I am not a sandbagger. I just shot 84 last week. I'm just having a good day. It is my home course.
Right.
But it just was like, it was fun. But at the same time, I hated that. I always sometimes didn't like handicap competition just because of that person that's not honest. And you just have that awkward, you have that awkward like exchange with them. You know what I mean?
That's why
or sometimes people just have a good day.
That's why it kills me at charity events when somebody will come in, their team's like 26 under,
no.
and you're like, come on, guys, it's a charity event. You really don't need to be doing that. No, we all know y'all couldn't possibly have shot that, but
yeah,
I don't take it too seriously. I think that I really enjoy it because I'm extremely competitive. I mean, I played in a group yesterday, and everybody put in $3, and you'd have thought that it was $30,000 on the line, and I was so mad on the last hole that I finished second instead of first, and I was like, I got to keep reminding myself this is $3 freaking here. It's not the end of the world.
What handicap you playing till now?
I'll shoot. I don't have an official handicap, but I'll shoot anywhere from 78 to 83 pretty much every time I tee it up.
Yeah.
Same little range, like you were saying about the better you get, the smaller that variance, that standard deviation. It's in fact, I did an analysis of the whole Hampton Cove Golf League. I was trying to show these guys. I said, y'all got to realize that the group that's going to win this is the group that has the lower standard deviation. It's just they're consistent, and that's what it takes. Everybody's like, oh, as long as you shoot your handicap, you'll do fine. And I'm like, well, that's easy for a 2 or 3 handicapper to do, but you throw a 20 handicapper out there and ask them to shoot 20 handicap every time.
Yeah,
it ain't going to happen.
Yeah. The thing that was always hard was when you don't get stroke. I'm not getting strokes, but I'm playing someone, I'm giving them strokes. We come to like the number 1 handicap hole, which is already like difficult for me to even par sometimes because it's a difficult hole, and they get like 2 strokes.
Right.
So if they end up parring, I have to eagle to push.
Yeah.
I always hated that. Yeah. Anything else you want to cover?
No, I'd love to cover a lot of gambling stories, but boy, they are. Whew, I've seen it all at the casinos. I do have one that
please.
Back when Harrah's in Tunica opened, I got 2 quick ones. Back when Harrah's in Tunica opened, they were shooting ads for the casino, and we were sitting at the blackjack table, and they said, "Hey, we'd like to film y'all. Will you sign these release forms and all that?" And the dealer dealt 7 blackjacks and 1 to themselves. And I was like, and the guy that was shooting the ad, he's like, cut. And nobody's ever going to believe that. But I've never seen anything like that in my life. And another one, I was taking a break from blackjack.
Oh, so it wasn't by design.
No.
Wow.
It was for real. They we were playing cards.
Wow.
And they were filming it. And I was
wow.
like, you got to be kidding me. But here's one that I only play blackjack, and this was years ago. I was taking 10-minute break from blackjack, and I sat down at the roulette table, and they went to spin the ball, and it went flying through the air and popped me in the eye. And I made, jokingly, I made a big production out of it. And I was like, oh my God, is there an attorney in the house? so then I put like $10 or whatever on the number. And I said, just so y'all know, if this hits, this will show y'all that this game is fixed, because I'm sitting here threatening to sue this place. But damned if my number didn't come up. And I was like, that's it. That just proves it right there.
Wow.
You get hit in the eye with the ball,
They're gonna make
and then your number hits the very next spin. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Why is it you only play blackjack when you go to a casino?
Because I like it. I like the fast action. I don't have the patience for poker.
Yeah.
I like to play one-on-one. I like to get up early in the morning and go down and be the only one at the table and play for ever how long it takes. I'm usually, I don't stay at the table a long time. If I hit a good run, it's time to get up and leave.
You have a favorite hotel you stay at?
I stay at Bellagio. Usually.
Okay.
I may try the Wynn next time just so I can play the golf course.
Yeah, I was at the Venetian for a conference in October, and man, it's just amazing. Every time I go to Vegas, I'm just amazed at the amount of money that those hotels they're just spectacular. And I had a really good view of the Wynn golf course out of my window, and I actually purposely sat there and just kind of like, I wonder what kind of play they get. Not that many, but man, it's beautiful.
No, that's the thing on Shadow Creek. She told me that the host told me, she said it's not unusual at Shadow Creek to have maybe 2 foursomes a day.
Wow.
That's all that'll be out there. She said everything's free. She said you go in the pro shop and you say, I need 2 dozen balls, I need this, this, and this. It's all complimentary.
And so like all of the casinos are floating it, I guess, or
no, just MGM.
Just MGM.
Just
okay.
MGM.
It's an MGM property.
Correct.
Okay.